next? Who next? Who next?
Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's Combo Breaker 99, and I'm back. I'm back with another Who's Next, and I know this one is long overdue, but let's put the spotlight on Valentina, the Bullet Shevchenko. All right, y'all. It's been about a month now, a little over a month since UFC 261, since Valentina Shevchenko. She got a very dominant second-round TKO win over Jessica Andrade. I know we all felt that fight was going to be a little bit more competitive, but Valentina Shevchenko once again shows her level. She shows why she is the best in her division and one of the best pound-for-pound women in WMMA today. But, yeah, man, I had a little trouble thinking about this one here. But I wanted to do this one right after, maybe like a few weeks right after the fight. I was trying to say who should be next for Valentina Shevchenko. So the only thing I could really come up with for this one are the more logical opponents, the opponents that are fighting their title eliminators. And, just the opponents that are up in rankings. And I did come up with an opponent that I know a lot of people won't agree with, because, Valentina Shevchenko, she's the type of fighter, even like she said in her interview, her post-fight interview, that she's not necessarily looking to call anybody out. She's just going to fight anybody. Whoever the next opponent is, that's who she's going to fight. She's not afraid to fight anybody. So there's those type of fighters where you can give them a pass. Like, they don't have to jump on the mic and call anybody out because we already know they're established. They're willing to fight anybody. The only fighters I feel like get that pass from me would be like Amanda Nunes, Valentina Shevchenko, and even Tatiana Suarez. Like, Tatiana says she's not the type to call people out because she'll just fight anybody. I like that. I like that type of fighter. There's some fighters that we have to see them call people out because they're always in a position where they can't get a fight, right? But somebody like Valentina Shevchenko, she holds that belt, so she's going to fight anybody. Whoever they put in front of her, that's who she's going to fight in the division. Doesn't matter who it is. Whoever's next in line, that's who she's going to get. So these are the opponents I'd like to see Shevchenko take on next. I know that the fighters are already lined up to fight. One of the fighters on this list I know people are going to disagree with, but I don't care because this is my channel, and I just like to see good matches. So first up, of course, the most logical matchup would be the Lauren Murphy / JoJo Calderwood winner. Lauren Murphy versus JoJo Calderwood. Lauren Murphy, she's number 3. JoJo's number 6. They battle it out June 12th for potential title eliminator. So for me, whoever wins will likely take on Valentina Shevchenko sometime this year, maybe in the fall. Definitely before the end of this year. But if Lauren Murphy wins, I think she would bring on a different look. She brings that physical, rough and rugged style. Same height as Valentina Shevchenko, just a little bit wider. But both fighters, they fought at 135, so I feel like they both have that strength to bring into the fight to make it a little bit interesting. I mean, I don't see her posing like a great threat to Shevchenko, but I could see her wanting to box a little bit more and, strike and throw in volume and try to use her hands and, even her kicks to make this fight interesting. But let's not lie, Valentina Shevchenko has the boxing advantage and the speed advantage. So I feel like all the while it would still be Valentina Shevchenko's fight. But again, maybe Lauren Murphy can mix it up a little bit. Maybe she can go in there and make this a physical fight. You never know. And if it was JoJo Calderwood, let's say JoJo Calderwood was to win this fight, I think it might be a little bit more interesting because both fighters from Muay Thai backgrounds. JoJo, she's a little bit more aggressive, less defense, which is definitely not going to be a good thing. You don't want to take big shots from Valentina Shevchenko all day. So when you match these two fighters up, I feel like Valentina Shevchenko, she's definitely came a lot farther from Muay Thai, into the world of mixed martial arts. But JoJo, she's still trying to find that balance to me a little bit. Like, she still does a lot of good Muay Thai fundamentals in there, but I still think that she's a lot of things she needs to work on. Like I said, less defense is going to make her hittable against a fighter like Valentina Shevchenko, who's a very, very good counter striker, has a lot more tools at her disposal. I like to see JoJo make this more competitive, but this is a fight you just can't go in there and lead with your head on the line. You have to be able to fight timing with timing. You got to be slick. To fight Valentina Shevchenko, you got to fight fire with fire, or you got to take her out of her comfort zone using something that she's weak in. And it's really hard to say what Valentina Shevchenko is weak in if, you're JoJo Calderwood, because Valentina Shevchenko can do it all. She can do it all. I mean, there's certain things Nunes could do in there, and even Jennifer Mai was able to do for one round, but I think it's going to take a lot for JoJo to go in there and just try to nullify whatever it is Valentina Shevchenko can do. But yeah, these two fighters, whoever wins this fight, they deserve the title shot because, we're just looking at the rankings, and you know, as they push their way up, you know, Valentina's already fought everybody else, so that's just the most logical matchup, right? All right, so one matchup I was going to have on this card, though, one matchup I was going to put on this card, you know, about a month ago, of course, was Viviane Araújo, but Katlyn Chookagian was able to beat her. You know, I know we all felt Viviane won the fight, but you know, Katlyn Chookagian, she pulled it out. So let's switch out Viviane Araújo, and we'll put Katlyn Chookagian in. I know people are going to disagree with me on that, but Katlyn Chookagian would be the most logical answer to me, just because, you know, Katlyn Chookagian is still holding on to that number 2 spot right under Jessica Andrade. You know, since Jessica Andrade already lost and Katlyn Chookagian continues to upset all these other flyweights like Viviane Araújo and so on, and Cynthia Calvillo, you know, it seems like Katlyn Chookagian should be that fighter. I mean, if I had my fighter in that position, if I was Katlyn, then I would say, look, I want to get this big bag one more time. Let me do it one more time. Let me get this rematch. Because Katlyn Chookagian has more of a leg to stand on and argue for a title shot than somebody like Wmma. You know, Wmma continues to say, I want a title shot. I want a title shot. And she's basing that off of a performance in which she lost against Zhang Weili. Whereas Katlyn Chookagian, she continues to hold the number 2 spot and stop all these other girls from getting to the top, right? So the more you stop these girls, you go on winning streaks and you beat these other fighters, you might as well say, hey, look, let me get my title shot one more time. Let me get this one last fight, because I am going to go off into the sunset and have a family. I want to start having kids soon. So let me get this fight one more time. So for Valentina Shevchenko and Katlyn Chookagian to fight again in a rematch, that fight would make sense. It would make sense because, again, you're beating everybody else. And, you know, you could revisit it again just to get the money, even though we know you can't beat her. So that's another logical fight. You know, that would be logical for Katlyn. You know, get as much money as you can out of this fight, and that'd be it, you know. But my last pick, like I said, this is going to be one everybody disagrees with me on. But last but not least, number 1 contender, Germaine de Randamie at 135. Valentina Shevchenko versus GDR at 135. I talk about this fight a lot over here. Y'all heard me talk about it over here. People always disagree. Some people like it, but I love this fight. I know that Valentina said the only way she would move back to 135 is for the 3rd Nunes fight, but I think this fight would be a great challenge, and it would probably be one of the best non-title fights at 135 or 125. And I think a lot of fans would want to see this fight. It's probably one of the best non-title fights that I think a lot of fans would want to see. I think more fans would want to see this fight rather than some of her upcoming flyweight title defenses. Let's be honest. I mean, the more and more she fights those fighters, of course, it's going to help her set a legacy and set a record, because she's going to keep defending her title more and more. She's going to hold more title defenses than some of these other champions. But this fight here, it would just hold like a big challenge, you know. For one move back up to 135, it would definitely put all eyes on her, that she's ready to get back to that 3rd fight. She's ready to get that 3rd fight with none other than Amanda Nunes. And if she was to win this GDR fight, it would definitely guarantee her that spot and corner Nunes, if that's the fight that she really wants, and if that's the fight that Nunes really wants. Because right now, it's just talk. It could happen since Valentina really wants it, of course. Like if Dana White says, if Valentina and Nunes finally agree on it, then boom, it's theirs. But just as a build-up, taking on the number 1 spot against GDR will really spice it up, in my opinion. You know, style-wise, this is a great matchup. I don't think Valentina has faced any bantamweight like this before, you know, of this size. GDR stands 4 inches taller with a 5-inch reach advantage and has some of the best striking in MMA, period. Some of the best boxing in MMA, period. And so does Valentina. So I would really want to see those two styles matched up. You know, she's physically strong, hard hitter, rough and rugged. Could Valentina get in on the reach? Could she be the counterpuncher in this fight? Could she fight her on the outside? Could she win in the clinch? Can GDR keep this fight standing and just match Valentina's strength for strength in the clinch? I don't know. This is a fight we have to see. Would GDR show her that respect that Amanda Nunes did? Or would she try to go all out and try to land big shots early and fighting these tie clinches? It's interesting. It's an interesting fight, which I am going to do a separate video on pretty soon. I want to kind of match these two up and just kind of say, hey, this is how I think this fight would go. So it's a fantasy matchup, but it's definitely it's a possibility. It could happen. It could definitely happen. I know Valentina said her only fight she wants At 135 is Nunes now, but I think this would be a great fight as well. You know, just for a legacy fight, it would be a good, solid non-title fight. Shoot, they might as well make it. They might as well make this fight and make a BMF belt for women. You know what I mean? This should be for the BMF belt for women. Period. I mean, what do y'all think? Valentina Shevchenko versus Jermaine Duraname for the BMF for WMMA. I like that. I like that a lot. Guys, let me know in the comment section what y'all think. But that's who I got. Who's next for Valentina? Lauren Murphy, JoJo Calderwood winner, Caitlin Chikagan rematch, and fantasy matchup, Jermaine Duraname at 135. Combo Breaker 99. I am out. Subscribe. Peace.